Cartoon Network recently released a video titled "Don't Deny It, Defy It. The Crystal Gems Say Be Anti-Racist." And it's one in a series of anti-racism PSAs that Cartoon Network has coming. You most likely have seen the short already since it stirred up quite a rumble online. However, if you haven't, I'll leave a link in the description for you. Get caught up and return. Now, while many of us saw this and immediately got the messages and were immediately on board, since it's obviously a positive one, some of our fellow human beings are having a bit of trouble. One person said to me, "Devii, don't you see this subliminal messaging?" And I was like, "No, honey, where is it?" They didn't reply, but I'm not stupid. I know exactly what they were talking about, and we shall be discussing it now. Granted, we could scream at our wayward brethren who'd rather carry on a tradition of hatred than accept change. But let's try reasoning with them first, shall we? Let's try breaking it down for them. If this is your first time on my channel, hi, my name is Devii. This is my channel, Let's Talk Cartoons, where we do just that. We talk cartoons. So if by the end of this video you like what we do here, talking about cartoons and stuff, please be sure to subscribe and drop a like down below so we can know. The clip starts off with an obvious parody of your typical 90s/80s PSA. She literally said, "Kids, don't be racist." But wait, before we even get to that part, let's talk about the part that had the homophobes flipping their lids. Two male-presenting kids were having fun on a slide in the playground. One black, one white. The kids were having so much fun together in the heat of the moment. One turned to the other and was like, "Hey, when we're older, I repeat, when we're older, let's get married." I had to repeat it for the homophobes trying to hide their homophobia by saying, "Oh, they're pushing kids to marry kids." You know, the whole pedophilia aspect. The kids said, "When we're older." The amount of times straight kids have done similar things in media and no one even bats an eye is countless. But oh no, this is the gay agenda. Not the gays trying to seem like normal human beings who are deserving of respect and aren't hurting anyone. Had this been a girl and a boy on screen, this video wouldn't have had more dislikes than likes on YouTube. And sure, there may be people who see the likes to dislike ratio and are like, "Haha, move out of here with that gay stuff. We don't want that around." But that kind of mentality is why people are out here hurting gay people and feeling they're in the right. There are literally laws against homosexuality in so many countries, including the country I live in, Jamaica. People are being killed for being themselves and minding their own business. Kids are being thrown out of their houses, forced to do whatever they must to survive. Some don't even bother trying to survive and give in to the hatred being thrown towards them, not knowing their worth and believing they don't belong in the world. The Pulse nightclub massacre that happened in 2016 was influenced by this exact kind of mentality, that gay people are an abomination. Then many run to the Bible to justify their actions and their hatred. Just like slave owners used the Bible to oppress black people and promote slavery in the days of Harriet Tubman. Sometimes you need to take your head out of the book that was written centuries ago and listen to the people around you today, what they have to say, what they're going through. The pain, the hurt, the depression. You have the internet. Educate yourselves. Listen to the trauma LGBT plus people go through on a day-to-day basis because of your hatred. Read about the struggles so many went through just to be able to hold hands with the person they love. Look at the death toll of LGBT plus people around the world. I'll leave some links in the description for you. Listen to your fellow human beings before you spit your venom. If your God promotes hatred amongst your fellow humans, maybe it's time you start asking some questions. Speaking of hatred, the PSA continues. So these two kids get their hands broken apart by another kid who is like, "Black people can't marry white people," being obviously racist. This is when Garnet comes through with her iconic line, "Kids, don't be racist." Honestly, that one became an instant reaction pic as soon as the PSA dropped. Then, just like the Steven Universe body positivity commercials they did with Dove, the characters are revealed to have been on a production set and reading from scripts. Basically, they're actors. Now before we go on, I just want to share this little tweet I saw about the PSA. Folks eventually get used to their differences on their own when given the chance, and the concept of racism gradually dies out if not used as a scapegoat whenever individuals fail to have their way with society. Your efforts are appreciated, but unnecessary, I'm afraid. Now, I'm gonna just leave that on screen so you can sit with it while we wrap up the final part of this PSA, alright? The director calls cut and everyone breaks character. One kid, who is white by the way, is like, stuff like this doesn't happen in real life. This is when the others have to explain to him, even though he's never experienced racism, it doesn't mean it's not happening. One of the kids even went to explain that it's a hurtful topic to deal with, especially when people act like it's not real. Garnet drops some words of wisdom, of course, because it's Garnet, explaining that you have to acknowledge racism to work against it. They close out with the white kid saying he'll do better and Garnet dropping a joke about the kids getting married, The end. Now back to that tweet. A mindset like this is dangerous, especially when you look at the deadly racist acts taking place in America. People are being killed just for living in their own skin. Donovan says it'll blow over, so we should have a seat and stop acknowledging it. But Donovan, how many years have passed since the days of black people being kidnapped from their native lands and sold to work as slaves, treated as less than because of our skin color, shipped across the globe like products? Had people not taken a stand against racism, Donovan, we'd still be oppressed even more than we are today, plowing fields and being treated less than. The fight against racism is what got us to where we are, and even then, racism still lives loudly and proudly, might I add. Breonna Taylor was sleeping when police took her life. Elijah Mcclain was just heading home when they stopped his breath. Black women wear their natural hair in its natural form and are called unprofessional, but white women do it and are considered the standard to follow. Black men are still being racially profiled, being seen as hostile. Oh, he's too hostile for just handcuffs, so they gotta kneel in his neck for 7 minutes and 45 seconds until he stops breathing. He's too hostile for just handcuffs, so they gotta inject him with enough ketamine to induce a heart attack. So just waiting on the concept of racism to die out, Donovan, is not enough. Someone has to talk. Someone has to do something about it. When nothing is said, it's deemed the correct way to behave and it starts to spread. Colorism is a disease birthed from racism. People of darker skin tone like myself are being called tar and crusty. I'm being mocked in a country where majority of the people are black. Black people are mocking us, their own kind, for being black. If I wasn't in a family where my dark skin was celebrated growing up, only heaven knows what I would have done to myself by now. Anyways, we continue. Someone touched on the fact that this anti-racism PSA was portrayed by kids. They said, "This is cringe! Using kids as models really makes it worse. I never saw when I was a child people being racist among kids. Usually adults will be thinking racist. Should put adults, or maybe don't use the word racist. It's a strong word for kids." Let me tell you, kids are being exposed to the worst today, you know what I mean? So when you're talking about good and trying to push good, sometimes you can't let up with the language that you use. But again, here's the thing, Finn, just like the PSA said, because this has never happened to you doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it wasn't happening. This is why I'ma say it again. You have the internet. Use it! Look it up! Do your research. Look into the story of young Ruby Bridges who had to go to school with her mom and US Marshals as bodyguards. Kids are taught how to be racist. Children are told, stay away from the black kid. You can't be friends with them. They're black. And things of that nature. It's real. But just like racism is taught, anti-racism can be as well. This is why this PSA is so important and shouldn't just be brushed off as, Steven Universe, cringe. Especially when so many companies have gone back to business as usual after making so many bold statements during the time of rioting after George Floyd's murder. The topic is so much deeper than 1 minute and 25 seconds, but they're trying. They're trying to raise awareness and I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Good for you, Cartoon Network. And shout out to Rebecca Sugar and Ian J. Quarty for writing and directing this script. I will forever have respect for these people. Along with Dr. Kira Banks and Dr. Alan E. Lipscomb, and Deborah J. Johnson, PhD, because you can't leave out the title, honey. These people worked hard for their title. Also, shout out to Chromosphere for always bringing it with a fabulous animation. Let me say shout out to the people who are actually like, thank you, Cartoon Network. Thank you for pushing this. Shout out to the people who actually liked the video on YouTube. Shout out to the people who are actually pushing positivity in the comment section on Instagram. Shout out to the people who are actually saying, yes, this is what the world needs right now on Twitter. Thank you. We need people like you. We need your light. And to the people who can't see why this kind of PSA is necessary, especially in kids media, I beg of you, do your research. You don't have to experience something for it to be real. Practice empathy. Put yourself in other people's shoes as much as you can. Thank you for watching. Stay positive, change the world for the better, and don't let it change you for the worse. See you in the comments.